The Obscure Neighbor. Chapter 1. Moving in? As I stepped into my new apartment, a sense of relief washed over me. It was finally a place to call home after months of backpacking from one town to the next for college. The beige walls and stained carpet felt like a sanctuary compared to the dingy hostels and couch surfing that had been my norm. But little did I know, this new chapter in life would bring with it an unsettling presence. Mr. Jenkins, my neighbor from across the hall. His booming voice echoed through the hallway, and his perpetual smiling face greeted me each time we crossed paths. While most found him endearing, he made me increasingly uneasy as the days went by. The first encounter was a surprise visit to introduce himself when I moved in. He invited himself into my apartment with a warm smile and said, "Welcome to our little community. Let me know if you need any help." As time passed, his visits became more frequent, offering unsolicited advice on everything from cooking to career choices. I would politely decline and retreat back into my room, but he persisted. One night at 1 a.m., I was startled by a knock. I hesitated before opening the door. Mr. Jenkins stood there in a bathrobe, holding a freshly baked apple pie with a knowing smirk. "Thought you could use some company." I thanked him and accepted his gift, feeling like a charity case. His eyes lingered as he departed, leaving me wondering why my personal boundaries weren't respected. Soon, the strange noises began. Whispered conversations, clinking glasses, and muffled laughter emanated from his apartment after midnight. "Oh, it's just an old house settling," he would dismissively say each time I questioned him about it. His interest in my life grew with questions over every aspect: school, love life, and even family dynamics. The line between friendly and intrusive blurred as the days went on. My curiosity mixed with dread propelled me to invite friends over, hoping camaraderie would repel his fascination with me. One evening, while they chatted in the living room, he appeared with a plate of homemade cookies. As we conversed, I noticed an unusual pause. The shadows cast by our bodies seemed to dance and twist unnaturally on the walls. Shaking it off as fatigue, we said our goodbyes, and I retreated into my bedroom. The night was filled with unexplained creaks. Not quite the leaky pipe anymore. In the morning, I found an anonymous note tacked to my door. "Feel alone in this new city? We're all lonely together." It wasn't until later that day, while studying on the balcony, that I noticed Mr. Jenkins watching me from his window. A shiver ran down my spine as he vanished when caught staring. Yet, despite the unease, loneliness tugged at me to accept his offerings of friendship. He had a way of making you feel seen in this vast metropolis. Before I knew it, weeks turned into months and our rapport grew comfortable, if odd. Late-at-night conversations would often spill over into my apartment, sharing life stories as though he'd known me forever. One night, the door swung open on its own, an unsettling habit of his, and he plopped down in the armchair beside me. "You never talk about your past." My hesitation was met with a comforting pat on the shoulder. I let slip that my parents had passed away in a car accident. The words spilled out before I could trap them inside. He listened intently, offering heartfelt condolences and advice. "Loss can bond us to others unexpectedly," he mused, his eyes glistening like polished emeralds under our dim balcony light. My defenses crumbled as his steady gaze held mine. In that moment, Mr. Jenkins was the first friend I'd made in this city. However, shadows crept in when darkness fell, an inexplicable sense of being watched. Nights were filled with hushed whispers outside my door, and his appearances became more regular. He knew about every class I took, every test I struggled with or failed. A shiver danced down my spine as he'd arrive at my doorstep unannounced. Our talks often ventured into the realm of the personal. His fascination piqued curiosity over how he knew so much. Some people just understand, he'd say with a knowing smile before vanishing into his apartment once more. I couldn't shake it off anymore. The package arrived, wrapped in brown paper with no note or card. An odd collection of photographs and newspaper clippings from decades past. A photo of two men holding hands in front of the Eiffel Tower sparked recognition. That was my parents' vacation before they died. My mind swirled as I scanned the images. A news article about a college student who drowned caught my eye. His name, Mark Jenkins. Heart hammering, I turned to confront him, and he appeared in the doorway with an unblinking stare, holding one of the pages. "A connection binds us all," he said, before disappearing into his apartment, leaving me questioning reality. That night's sleep was fitful as whispers outside my door morphed into unmistakable phrases. "You're not alone." The words sliced through the wall. The day dawned with a phone ringing. My roommate answered it, saying Mr. Jenkins had called to ask about my first day at college. She left out his name before handing me the receiver. I hesitated, but curiosity won. A voice boomed on the other end. "Remember our balcony talks? Don't be afraid to reach out." It was him. After that call, he stopped by often, bringing baked goods with an intensity that bordered on stalking. His questions delved into my darkest fears and past traumas, knowing details about them before I could share. My roommate's advice echoed in my mind. Trust your instincts. Little did I know the worst was yet to come as the sun dipped below the horizon. Chapter 2. Unsettling Encounters. Chapter 2. The Intruder. Chapter 3. The Unveiling. Let's discuss this chapter if you wish for further exploration of their friendship and the mystery surrounding Mark.